Hello and welcome back to Every Birth Is. I'm Tishona and I'm super glad to have you here today. I am coming to you from my bedroom. Maybe this will be the sweet spot of quiet spots. We shall see. Let's get started. Somehow, over the years, we've come to believe that birth has to be a certain way. We believe certain things can or can't happen, will or won't happen, should or shouldn't happen. As a doula, I know that's just not the case. While there are many similarities in birth, there are many differences as well. In this series, I hope to bring light to those differences and similarities in an attempt to help people learn from past experiences, think positively about future experiences, and broaden the dream they have for their own birth experience. Okay. All right, guys. So today we get to meet Madia. She and her husband, Eric, grew their family in this story. They had a son, and this is the story of their second birth. And this was little man Luke that was joining their family in November of 2019. So it is such a blessing for us today to be able to hear her story. I want to introduce you guys. Madia, welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to hear my story.
I really appreciate your willingness to be here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am 27 now. I was 26 when I had my son, Luke. Let's see. I have, like you stated, I have an older son who's now 19 months. They were actually 13 months apart. So back-to-back babies. My husband, I was in the Marine Corps for 7.5 years prior to moving to Charleston. I was 9 months pregnant when I got out of the Marine Corps, moved here, and literally 10 days later gave birth to my first son. So that's kind of been my whole Charleston hobby, I guess, has been just having babies. And, had my son, got pregnant right away again, and then had another baby. So that's pretty much been what's been going on here. And yeah.
I love it. So that means that we connected very shortly after you got here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Within, a year?
All right. So I asked Madia a couple of questions to help her to summarize her birth story. She's got the story all written up, and so she's going to read that for us now. So here we go.
Awesome. All right, so I spent the days leading up to labor trying to relax because of both my pregnancies. I actually had high blood pressure towards the third trimester, which is why I had to get induced with my first son. So for my second son, the blood pressure is creeping up again for third trimester, so I tried to really take it easy and relax with my husband and my older son. And I did not want to be induced at the hospital whatsoever, so I really, really, really tried to take it easy. But at 38 weeks, my blood pressure is creeping up again. So I decided to start doing some natural induction techniques. So I was drinking some raspberry leaf tea. I was taking primrose oil. I was bouncing on a ball. And then at 38 weeks and 2 days, I decided before taking my nap that I was going to go ahead and try pumping. Because a lot of moms, my mom groups were like, hey, pump, 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 it'll get stuff going. So I went ahead and pumped for about 7 minutes, and I went to take a nap. No, actually prior to this, maybe a week prior, I was getting cramps here and there. I was like, oh, is this it? It wasn't it. So that's also, I think my uterus had been getting ready for at least a week or 2 weeks by then. So I was hoping to get something going. But after my nap, I woke up and my water broke. Like I was laying in bed, woke up, opened my eyes. I was actually taking a nap with my older son, and I felt a gush. So I stood up and more started coming down. So I was like, all right, I think this is definitely it. And then no later than maybe 2 minutes after that, I was starting to get strong contractions that were 2 to 3 minutes apart. So I went to the birth center shortly after my water broke, and my midwife checked to see how dilated I was. I was actually at 5.5 centimeters, which explained the painful contractions. So I went from 0 to 5.5. That's also when I decided to call my doula, Tishona, and let her know that I was ready for her to come. All the stars aligned, and it just happened that she and her backup doula Simone, came right away. Right when they got there, I was instantly put at ease. They were both instantly making me feel comfortable, praising me, and their presence really lifted my spirits immensely. They were also talking with my husband, who was watching our son the entirety of the birth and putting him at ease. That poor guy was he was stressed. So Tashona instantly took action in helping me work through my contractions. And she was having me change up my positions every few contractions, and I could literally feel my son getting into position for birth. It was amazing. It was simple. I know that her support, when I couldn't even think for myself, helped my labor speed up and run so smoothly. During the transition, I was in so much pain and so nauseous, and they helped me with peppermint oil, and finally we all agreed that it was go time and time to get in the birthing tub. The pain was the most intense feeling I've ever felt in my life. With my first son, I had an epidural. It failed a little bit, but I definitely didn't feel the pain, the intensity, as I felt with my second birth. And like I said, the pain was very intense. And once I actually was even begging my midwife to get the baby out. I was like, help me, get the baby out, do something. And all the ladies there were just telling me, you're okay, you're doing great. It was actually so painful that I stopped pushing because I was too scared. I was like in shock. And my body actually ended up taking over and pushing for me. It was intense and amazing at the same time. When my body took over, I just couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. It just started pushing for me. So my body just bore down extremely hard. And after the 3 pushes, my baby was out.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the last few moments before my son was born, I was feeling confident and ready. I mean, I had such a bad experience with my first son's labor in the hospital setting that I knew in my heart that going the birthplace route and having natural labor was exactly what I needed. During the whole labor, I was feeling very confident, more so than I felt the whole pregnancy, actually. And having my doulas there just made it that much more magical. Birthing my baby was simply a fairy tale. It was exactly what I needed after the traumatic first induction birth of my son in the hospital. It was completely healing, like just the most healing birth after such an intense traumatic birth, and it was just perfect. Sometimes I tell my husband that I wish I could go back in time and relive it. Having doulas and midwife was everything and more. I had all women lifting me up and supporting me every step of the way. I felt so empowered. As a new family of 4, I felt a strong sense of love. I still had support from my midwife and doulas even after the birth. I even had my placenta encapsulated to help with baby blues. So with my first son, I had extreme postpartum depression and anxiety, and it kind of led into pregnancy with my second son. I was so scared to feel that again. And my doulas came to visit me prior to giving birth, one of the meetings we had, and they explained to me and taught me what placenta encapsulation was and the benefits of it, and wow, what a difference. Like, I'm so happy you guys told me about that and did that for me, because wow. So between the continued support and the placenta capsules, my immediate postpartum experience was great. I was able to slow down and soak it all in. The first few days and nights at home with my baby was much easier than I thought it would be. He was a nursing champ. My first son's induction birth wore him out, and all I did was sleep when he was born for a good 24 hours. So our nursing experience started off extremely rough. This birth, coming home right away and latching right away, it was just, the natural birth was just what my baby and I needed to get off to a great start. I just want to add that you can make your own path. You don't have to do what the mainstream populace does. Trust in your body and trust in the process. After my traumatic birth, I decided to do lots of research, and that's when I decided to go the natural birthplace route, and that was the best decision I could have made for my baby and I. When telling people my decision, I had so much kickback. People told me I was making a mistake. That's when I decided to stop talking about my decisions until it was all said and done. All I needed was the support from my doulas and my midwife, and wow, what an amazing feeling. My doulas not only gave me the support I needed, but they gave me the knowledge, tools, and confidence to fight for what I wanted.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love how empowering it made you feel, and how much support and love you had all around it. That it's just beautiful. The one thing about your story that I really want to highlight it, because I think it happens for so many people because we have kind of unlearned or relearned birth in a way that wasn't really the way it was designed. We just feel like the normal thing to do is to go to the hospital when you're having a baby. I feel like when you said in your story that it was, you decided that you wanted to take a different route, you wanted to have a different experience this time, but everyone around you was still so against it and like, what are you doing or whatever. I feel like that takes something deep down inside to be willing to fight against that, the standard. So what, is there anything that you would share or offer to future birthing people who are wanting to take that different route, but are experiencing the nerves and the pushback from other people?
Yeah, I mean, do your research. Do the research, and I was one of those people. I thought you go to the hospital, you get an epidural, don't go through the pain, have doctors there, or they're gonna save your baby. And I was still actually unsure before you came to talk to me at my house, when I decided I wanted a doula for my birth, just to help ease my stress. And when you came, you made me feel confident. You're like, women do this all the time. And I decided, you know what? I was confident. I wanted to do this. And I was getting excited. I was getting super excited about it. So I actually called my family. I kind of assumed they would be like, whoa, it's different. What are you thinking? And that's exactly what happened, but kind of worse. So I kind of told my family, I kind of told my closer friends, and they were like, whoa, don't don't do that. Go to the hospital. What if something happens to your baby, and the doctors need to save the baby? And I was like, you know what? The baby's going to be fine. This is completely natural. So when I was telling them this, and they're kind of making me feel more uncomfortable and starting to make me kind of doubt my decisions a little bit. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm not going to bring it up. I'm going to have the support of just my doulas, my midwife, my husband, and my mother. My mother, she was on the bandwagon after a little bit, but just go on from there. And that was the best thing I could have done, because that's, after the fact, I could look back and I had no negative ill will. I had only positives, and everyone can see that. Everyone can look back, or look at my story after the fact and say, wow, she did it and nothing happened, and maybe she was right, maybe she was onto something.
Right. Yeah. That, I love it. That, just the fact that you started this with do your research. So thank you all for joining us again today. I hope that you enjoyed this and that you were inspired by it. Please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to our channel in order to spread Every Birth Is to everyone that you know and love. If you or someone you know would like to share your story with us, please do reach out. I'll make sure to put our contact information in the box below. We would absolutely love to connect with you. So until next time, remember that you were created for this moment. Make the most of it. All right. Love and blessings. Take care.